And then, just before my baptism, when you work with the investments and with the money, you have to develop the place of your client. And my favorite way was to call people that I don't know. Call. In America and Canada, it's easy to develop the base of those people because when you go to library, and you can get their income, their tax, the places where they live, what are their possessions, what they all kind of information. You can get it very easily through the library. And I very quickly developed that system, and I was really successful calling those people. And every day I did that for 1 hour in the morning. That was my session of 1 hour, talking to people that I would like to target, lawyers. Or if I called them in the morning and I knew that they live in a wealthy area, if they're at home, they cannot be unemployed. They just having their breakfast, reading their business, financial post or whatever. And it was easy for me to connect to them and talk to them. And the most interesting part was when you meet all age people at home. The younger generation is now making money, but grandfather and grandmother are at home. And they're abandoned people. No one talks to grandmothers and grandfathers, only when you need them, tell them, do this, do that, but you don't spend time to talk with them. You don't, much time because you're busy to make money. Especially when those grandmothers and grandfathers have an origin from the countries that I can speak their languages. And then all these grandmothers and fathers, when they hear me talking their language, they tell me everything about family. Who is daughter-in-law? Who is son-in-law? How much son makes money? How much daughter-in-law makes money? What they're planning to do, what they're not planning to do. How they invest, what they buy, and all these things. Everything prepared for me, just waiting for them to come back in the afternoon for work and connect to them. And one of those sessions, one of those morning sessions, old lady answered the phone. I immediately recognized that he has some Eastern European origin. And I started to talk with her in one of the languages. And she cut me immediately in my conversation. And instead of me giving her my sermon, she gave me her sermon. Amen. Her sermon was about Jesus Christ. Amen. 45 minutes. I was just listening. That's right. I was just listening for 45 minutes. Amen. Old lady, 76 years old, giving me sermon for 45 minutes about salvation in Jesus Christ. Amen. When I finished that conversation, I said, I found something that I've been searching for the whole my life. Amen. And I left the office. And the people that saw me that day, when I left the office, they thought that I met a so wealthy individual and that I'm retired. That I got a commission for my retirement and I don't need to work anymore. They said you had such a face, such expression on your face that you found something that we thought that you are retired. When I was baptized after 6 months, that lady came to me and introduced herself. And I met that lady on my baptism. That lady, when I left Canada, I supported her for another 10 years with everything she needed because she taped all sermons on Sabbath morning and go through her seat and put them in the mailboxes. She made telephone calls to people and talk about the Jesus Christ. And she did it everything. She was 76 and she did it for another 10 years until 86 when she passed away. She did it all the time. In that age, she did it all the time without a single day missing opportunity to witness for Jesus Christ. Amen. And I was really impressed with her and I realized, how much, sometimes you're making excuses about age, I'm too old, I'm too young or whatever. There is no age, there is no anything that can prevent, God and Jesus to use anyone to witness for Him. And then I realized when I was baptized, why God answered all these previous prayers for me. Because I became the witness. I became the witness for Jesus Christ. And I made the immediate decision. I'm leaving my profession. I'm leaving everything. I'm going to study theology. I'm going to be a pastor. As soon as I announced that in my church, they called board meeting, extended board meeting, and called me on the board meeting to check me if I lost my mind. Losing everything. When I became a Seventh-day Adventist, when I was baptized, all my family left me. All. My mother came after 9 years to see me for the first time. My older daughter, she didn't want to talk to me for 5 years. Friends, all of them left. They told me, you lost your mind. And the church board calling me and telling me, you lost your mind. 5 pastors came to counsel me. The only one of those 5 prayed for me and said, you're going in the right direction, that's your call. Wow. The other one told me, you lost my mind. And when told me on board meeting, you lost your mind, I said, yes, that's the point, I lost my mind. I need the mind of Jesus Christ. Amen. I need the mind of Jesus Christ. And I'm going to lose my mind. I'm going to be a pastor. Where I'm going to study theology. America. Andrews. America is a heaven. Heaven for Seventh-day Adventists. The center of Adventism. Where I'm going to study. I prayed. I have prayed. And then God told me, you're going to Europe. You're not going to America. You're going to Europe. I said, God, where I'm going to Europe? Europe is a, huge place. Where I'm going to Europe? First weekend, after that revelation that I'm going to Europe, I went to the exhibition in Toronto. Walking around the exhibition, find a little corner over there, take a break, and the old gentleman came and joined my table. The first thing that he said, I'm such and such, and I'm a head of theology on Canadian University College. I started to laugh. He said, why are you laughing? I said, I'm just praying to God to reveal to me where to go to study theology. He said to me, he asked me, what do you like to study? What do you like about theology? I said, I like Hebrew and Old Testament. He said, go to Newell College. There is no better place for you. You have to go to Newell College. I packed myself and I went to Newell College. Before I came to Newell College, because after my baptism, everyone left me. The old couple from the church offered me their place to cook for me, wash and iron more sheets and things like that. And I said, okay, guys, I'll be with you. I like your food and everything else, and I'll be with you. Before I left Toronto to Newell College, the old lady told me, listen, we have a nephew around the Newell College, but we lost connection. We went in 90s, 50s, 60s, left, but we know that he's around there. And that's his name. When I came to Gatwick, the contact that was waiting for me, was a brother of one pastor who prayed for me in Toronto that God never leave me, never forsake me in my life. The first thing that he told me, you don't have your room. Your room is rented, you don't have a place to stay. But I found a place where you can stay temporarily for 2 weeks. And in the meantime, you'll find something. I went to that place. When I left Canada, I left absolutely everything. I came to this country with 150 American dollars and paid first semester of my school. And even today, I keep one of those 150 just to remind myself the prayer of that pastor that God will never leave you, never forsake you. God paid my school. My school was paid all the way. I had always food. I had always shelter. I had always place. I had always everything. Amen. And God never left me. And I keep in this one to remind myself that who is the God? Amen. What God did for me. When I came to that house, lady gave us soup and I went to find a job. Came back home, found my national insurance number, registered all these things, came back, found a lady crying in the kitchen. What's happened? Why are you crying? She said, I'm crying because I went to Newbold College, I spoke with one of the professors, and he told me that you're wasting your time and money and everything and effort because you won't be employed with anyone because of your age and because of all other issues. I said, don't cry, you're going to be my witness. You're going to be my witness, don't cry. And then I told her I found a job, Focus offered me job to be a purchaser and a salary and everything else. She started to even cry more. I said, why are you crying now? She said, you didn't come here to work. You could work in Canada. You came here to study theology and be a pastor. I said, you're going to be my witness. After 2-3 weeks, I asked that lady about the name of the nephew that I got from the old couple in Toronto. She said, that's my brother-in-law.
Wow.
God brought me from the same house in Canada to house in England. Same family. Same. And because of that act of God, today they are in contact. They found each other. They found each other. They found each other. And I told you that I hate the cars. When I started to work study at Newbold, you know, one day a week, you know, was good to work, and I found a driving agency. And they provided, every week I had a 1 day of job, and every holiday I had a full-time holiday work. Amen. All the way through my studies. Amen. All the way. And one of the days, I had an old Hyundai, and I stopped on the gas station to just have a little bit of gas. Agency called me that morning, they have a job for me. Just finished with the gas, brand new Porsche, just parked on the other side. I said to myself, my friend Dusan, you're going to drive this car very soon. I went to the driving agency. The first thing agent told me, head office Porsche need mature driver. Head office in Junction 12 on M4, they need mature driver to deliver new Porsche to the customer. And I was driving a Porsche, delivering a Porsche to the bar auction. And if you saw me in a Porsche, one of those new Porsche, then maybe my face is familiar to you. But before I went to find a job in Porsche, in that driving agency, one of the students told me, listen, my friend, the best job for you as a student to be in night security. Because you can work, in the evening when you're in night security, you can study, you can read, you can do all kinds of things. And then in the morning, during the day, you can be at the lectures and do things at Newbold. I wasn't really happy about that idea. But I said to myself, God, what should I do? Should I go there or not? And I got a clear message. You're not going to do that. You're not going to work as a night security. But I would like you to go. I would like you to go there to fill your application. Do everything. You won't get that job. And you don't like that job. You won't work there. But I would like you to go there to do application. Just go there for the sake of the application. I went there. I was maybe third, fourth day of my being at Newbold, at Bracknell. Because I didn't have a car yet, because I didn't have any other transport, I took a public transport and I walk most of the time. Come out of bus, and standing, waiting for the bus to move, and for me to cross the street and go into the office of that security company. But before you get to that security company, you have a block of flats, 3-floor buildings. And I standing, bus move, and I standing on the street and watching those flats and telling again myself, listen, Dusan, you're going to live on that 3rd floor of that balcony. On that building on the 3rd floor, that's your apartment. You're going to live there. Yeah, I'm going to live there. Cross the street, went to the agency, filled the form, and they informed me after a couple of days, forget, you're not for this job. Okay? Thank you. 6 months after, 8 months after, one of my lecturers came to me and said, listen, my friend, it's not good for you to be alone. That's not good for you to be alone. Let me introduce you to lady. I mean, you remember when I became Adventist? Yeah. All of them, my family left me. My wife divorced me at that day. My mother, my father, all these people, my sisters, my friends, they left me, my children, everyone left me because I lost my mind. When I met my Californian girl, the first thing she said, I live on that and that address, on the 3rd floor. And I lived on that balcony for 2 months before we bought our little home together. And things that I can stand before you here and talk to you, and witness. And today I know today why God answered my prayers when I wasn't Adventist, when I wasn't believer, when I was nothing. God called me and called me and called me and called me until I finally realized that I have to have a mind of Jesus and heart of Jesus. And then I surrendered myself. And here I am before you this afternoon. My passion for prayer is even higher than ever before. My passion for prayer is something that I cannot explain. And my passion to raise churches, to plant new churches, is something else that goes with that. When I finished my theology and when I was employed by South England Conference, my internship was a Pastor Kovalov in Croydon Church. Amen. And when I came there, Pastor Kovalov said to me, we have a little project that we're planning for a long time, and I believe that's your project. Take it, plant a church and develop. I went there and found 3 middle-aged black ladies. We met, we prayed together, we talked together, and they said to me, Pastor, what is your vision? I said, guys, my vision is to go into this community and knock on the doors of that community that is 90% white. They said, better kill us now. Better kill us now than force us to go on the doors of wealthy white people and call them to Jesus. Better kill us now. Today, those ladies, they cannot wait for me to see me. They're calling me to tell me their experience, what happened when they knock on the door of the white wealthy people in that community. They cannot wait to see me. They have to call me. They're calling me in the night. They're calling me in Jerusalem. They're calling me in Spain. They're calling me wherever I go. They're calling me to tell me their experience because they cannot keep that experience for themselves. They cannot keep that experience of prayer for themselves. What we do? First of all, we make sure that Jesus is in our heart. When you have a Jesus in your heart, there is no difficult to do anything for Jesus. When Jesus is in your heart. And if you turn your Bibles quickly to Book of Mark, chapter 2. If you turn your Bibles to Book of Mark, chapter 2. What's happened in that chapter? Anyone can read chapter 2, verse 1?
And again he entered into after some days, and it was noise that he was in the house. Continue?
No, just stop there. This is a critical word, my friends. This morning and this afternoon I'm hearing from you and heard this morning from some other people that what sin did to us. What sin did to us? What sin did to us that we are separated from God. We are crippled physically, mentally, intellectually, spiritually, in every way. We are crippled. Are we crippled? Is it as a power of sin that cripples us? Do you agree with that?
Yes.
Do you agree with that?
Yes.
This is a critical word for anyone, in anyone's life. That Jesus is again in this house. Jesus is in this house again. That's the key issue. That Jesus is in the house. When Jesus is in the house, things are different. Things are different. When in this heart is Jesus Christ, things are different.
Amen.
Life is different. Things are happening in a different way when Jesus comes again.
Amen.
What happened when Jesus comes again? What happened in the house? What happened in the house? What is happening with the people? Look at the verse 2. What's happening in the house when Jesus is again in the house? What's happening?
It gets packed.
There is a pact. They're blocking the doors, they're blocking everything. Because they want to hear of Jesus. They want to hear about the Jesus. What happened when Jesus is again in the house? What kind of people those people become when Jesus becomes a part of the heart of those people? Look at those 4 people. What happened? They did something something exceptional. Can you believe it if somebody opened the roof of this church over here and start to enter through the roof instead on the door? What did you say to that individual? What would you say to that individual?
You call the police.
What would you say to that individual? You call the police, you'll call the ambulance, you'll call everyone
That's true.
to take them away. But when Jesus comes into the house again, those people doing exceptional things. What are the exceptional things of people that when Jesus comes into the heart of those people? What did they do? What did they do? What did they do? Look at the Bible. What are they doing? They bringing what? They bringing a paralytical to Jesus. In the same way, we are individual paralytic. The church is a paralytic. Community is a paralytic of sin. The country, the world, the whole world is a paralytic because of the power. And the only way to escape the paralytic state, we have to open the heart to let Jesus be in that house. And then we can bring people, those paralytic people, to Jesus Christ. If we don't bring ourselves to Jesus, if we don't, we won't be able to bring anyone else to Jesus Christ and get rid of that paralysis. But look at what happened with other people. Those that they're blocking the doors. Some of them. What's happening with them? What happened when they opened the roof? What did they do, those 4 people, to Jesus? What they did it to Jesus? What they did it to Jesus? Look at the Bible. What's happened to Jesus? He was what? He was moved. Was he moved? Was he moved? Jesus was moved with them. Jesus was moved. It's not enough to be in the church. You have to touch Jesus and move Jesus Christ with your belief or your action or whatever you do. You have to touch Jesus. You have to provoke Jesus. Remember the woman that was bleeding for 12 years. And she was in a crowd and Jesus said, "Who touched me?" And disciples, what did they say? "What are you talking about? Look at this crowd, everybody pushing and pressing on you. And you saying, 'Who touched me?'" Who touched me? How we deal with Jesus? We pushing him in the corners of our life and pushing him out in many different ways. But have we touched Jesus? Have we touched Jesus? That's the key issue. And for those 4 individuals, they touched Jesus and provoked Jesus. And Jesus, what Jesus did? What Jesus did? He healed the paralytic. And what happened with the paralytic? He went. And what happened with the one part of the people? Jesus said to them, what? Why are you what? What are you? Why are you? Sorry? Why are you?
Surprised.
Why are you? Sorry? Look in the Bible. Why are you? Why are you reasoning those things in your heart? Because there wasn't Jesus in that heart. There was the empty heart. There wasn't a Jesus in that house. Jesus wasn't in that heart. Jesus wasn't in his temple. Wasn't Jesus. But when Jesus in this heart, in this temple, things are happening differently. And what happened when the paralytic went? All of them were what? Amazed. And all of them what? All of them what? At the end of that 11, verse 11. All of them were what? Sorry? Glorify God. When Jesus in this house, that's the only you bringing the glory of that God. And I was impressed and inspired with this biblical verse. This is one of biblical verses that prompt me to start to think how to connect my passion for prayer and community. Because I believe you as any other church struggling with idea how to connect yourself with this community. How to bring those people that are paralytic to healer and help them to gain that eternity, to face the salvation. What we did and what are we doing and what are we going to do? Unfortunately, this afternoon I don't have a DVD. But the next time when I come here, you'll see DVD of people that have been brought to Jesus in a very similar way. Their testimonies, people that never met Jesus before, until the small group of 3 black ladies and myself, we started to knock on the door of that community and offer the prayer for those people. We are going to the doors. You know the system of the chaplaincy in the hospitals. You know the system of chaplaincy at the universities. You know the system of chaplaincies in the jails. In the same way, this project called Community Chaplaincy Services. You're going there as a chaplain to knock on the door and discover the need of those individuals. And when you discover the need of that individual, before you leave, you pray for that particular need. And then you ask them to come back next week to pray again. And 99% will say yes. Why not? Come and pray for me. And when you come back next week, you know more about that individual. Prayer is already answered in many ways. Life getting better. Individuals starting to open to you. You sharing your believing experience, they sharing today. And then you starting to know them. They going in twos. And those twos, when they reach number of 5 individuals, they praying for them regularly. They stop and they focus on those 5 individuals. After week, they're going and praying for them in developing their relationship. In one point of time, they starting to introduce each of them to each other. Why don't you go with me? Your next neighbor, I'm praying for them too. Let's go and pray together for him. And then we go and pray for your neighbor. And then next time I take you too for the next neighbor. And I introduce 5 of them. And that's my prayer group that I developed during the summertime. And in the winter time, I'm in their houses. And we pray together. We read the Bible together. And we develop our relations together. And we continually praying to God for those people to come to Jesus and be touched by Jesus and experience the healing and become the believers that can go further and share their experience and bring some other people to Jesus.
Amen.
That's the short concept that I'm giving you.
Amen.
But I'm developing program that will have a proper training, proper registration. You'll go there with the badges, with your names and registration. When you go there, people know that you are not nobody. You're from services, community chaplaincy services are registered officially. And you're the volunteer who is coming, asking, how is the life? There are so many different reasons to ask for the life. There is no barrier, my friend, in the community when you go in that way. I'm a Muslim guy. You'll see the DVD with the Muslims, with the Catholics, with the non-Adventists, with the drug addicts, with the alcohol addicts, with the blacks, with the whites, with the yellows, with all kind of people. There is no barrier when you go there and when you go in the power of prayer. When you pray here and when you go there, Jesus is waiting for you guys to go there. See, Jesus is there in those houses.
Yes.
Amen.
When you knock on the door and you don't know who is going to open the door, and suddenly you're speaking a word that you don't know why are you talking that way. Because power of Jesus is speaking through you.
Amen.
And don't tell me that you don't know how to pray, even if you don't know how to pray. Holy Spirit, what does Holy Spirit say? I'll bring the prayer. I'll interpret that prayer. But just go there. And a couple of 2-3 weeks ago, I went to Shepherd's Bush with one young guy for 1 hour. We had 15 contacts.
Amen.
Doctor, white guy, professional, work in the hospital. I don't like religion. I am not interested in religion. But I'll come to help you once a month to give the presentation on health.
Amen.
Lady opened the door. I had a feeling that I'm in the gates of hell when she opened the door.
Wow.
When she heard that I'm Seventh-day Adventist. If she had a weapon in her hand, she would kill me. And I just left her to talk. And two of us were standing beside door and praying together. When she finished, I asked her, excuse me, may I pray for you? Why not? Pray! I just prayed simple prayer. I finished. I thanked her, turning from the door, telling her, have a good evening. She grabbed me with 2 hands. Don't go. I would like to your prayer meeting. I would like to come to your prayer meeting. And then she opened herself and told me everything. Her daughter is a Seventh-day Adventist. And she is a Catholic. She lost daughter because of Seventh-day Adventist Church. Her relationship with daughter is because of Seventh-day Adventist Church destroyed. They don't talk with each other for years and years and years. And she's blaming Seventh-day Adventist Church because she doesn't have a daughter anymore. But she grabbed me with both hands and said, I would like to come and pray.
Amen.
The Muslim lady, Muslim guy, whoever you stopping them, when you ask them to pray, they pray for you. They will pray for them. They don't make a difference. Are you Christian, non-Christian, whoever you are? Lady, 100% of the radical Muslim has some exam on this coming week. We pray for that exam. She passed the exam. She hugged me next time when I came to the door.
Wow.
The guy who is a Muslim, another Muslim, he started to read the Bible because of those prayers, praying together. There is no barrier. There is no barrier when you go there and when you pray. There is no barrier, and I encourage you guys. I encourage you to start to pray and start to touch Jesus with your prayer, with your decision and zeal to go and do something for this community. And when you go into that community, you will see amazing experience. I believe that if you don't move in this church, people that are sitting in a church for so long time, they don't have experience with God. Young people, young guys, young people, expose them to Jesus, expose them to God 100%. They can have experience. They'll never move them out of this church. They'll fix them for the rest of their life with God. If they experience that power of that prayer when they go out, when they do things. That when I took a young guy with me, every time I go outside, I take young people with me. And last year I took the young guy with me and we walked to the street praying together. And I told him, listen, my friend, this house over there, that's the house that you have to take care of that house. He said, Pastor, who lives there? I said, I don't know. I don't know. 2 weeks after, the family from that house came and joined a little group of women. With the 3 children. And I said, now you know who is there. You don't need to talk to that young guy anymore about the doctrine, about beliefs, about anything. He experienced the God himself. Himself. You don't need to do much. You don't need to persuade them in the morning to come to church. They'll run. They'll run before you and stay here. Don't go. Other collection. Hugbridge was a little group that was destroyed for all kinds of reasons. And they were crying, come to Hugbridge, help us with this and that. I said, okay, I'll come. Other collection. I took them for the first time. I told them, guys, we're going out into community and we're going to pray in this community. We're using other collection as an excuse to knock on the door. Just as an excuse. We're going there, God will bless us with money, but that's not our focus. Our focus is to pray for those people. For the first half an hour, they're making jokes of me. Pastor, what's happening? Doors are just slamming. Boom, boom. No money, no collection, no prayer, no nothing. And they, young people, they start to joke, laugh. Pastor, what's happening? I said, guys, just be patient. We knock on the next door. The young guy came out with a bag, Sainsbury bag full of coins. Next door, young lady came out with a plastic box full of coins. And I was able to fill 2.5 those other things with those 2 things. I left them with those 2 things and said, guys, now you have to go. And I left them there in that experience. And I didn't need to motivate them, to preach them, to teach them, to go there, experience God. They experience the mercy and love and God themselves when we receive full bag and a plastic box full of coins. And we found a diamond ring in that plastic.
Wow.
And we went back and we returned the ring to the lady. And I'm having a little conversation with that lady through the internet. She's a 4th generation daughter of 4 vicars in Church of England. And we have a little conversation about the God and all these things. And God putting people on our ways in a beautiful way. And I'm telling you guys, what we do now until we develop that proper values and all this training and everything else, what we do now, we use little questionnaire. I believe that you saw that questionnaire. And I'll give you that questionnaire. We divide into it. Divide the area where we would like to go. Of course, we spend a lot of time when you decide where are you going. And you have an area. Pray about that area. Volunteers. Team up in tours. Everyone has a different schedule, different life, and all these things around the family. But you'll find I believe you develop in your prayer ministry when you're praying for somebody in your church. You have a team. You have a prayer partner. Do you have a prayer partner? I would like you to raise that prayer partnership a little bit higher. Not staying in a church, but starting to go out together. And when you divide the street among yourself, You take a couple of streets, you two, and you going there with that little questionnaire, knocking on the doors, asking people 3 different questions in that questionnaire. And that questionnaire will help you as a church and pastor to develop programs here in the church. Because you'll find that people need. People respond, is it education, is it the health, is it the social issues, are they, health or whatever. And according to that statistic, you can target community and provide a beautiful programs here. Invite them to come here after. Because majority of them will participate in a questionnaire. If they don't want to come to be a part of the church in a way as a believer, they'll react in majority of the way they react like the doctor who want to help you to organizing once a month a seminar on different health issues. But at the end of everything, you pray for them. And with that prayer, you opening the door for your next visit. And when you go next week to visit them, you know them, as I said already, you know them a little bit better, and they know you a little bit better. And you're coming week after week after week, and praying for them. You know more about the family. You know more about the life problems or joys or issues or whatever. And you collecting that information and you praying for them and they experiencing prayer. For whatever modern, postmodern mind, whatever they are, they cannot resist the power of prayer. They can only admire. Why is the religion and God irrelevant to this community, to this town, to this country? Because they don't have experience. They don't have experience. They don't see the benefit. Why should I come to church? Why should I stay with God? Why should I pray? But once they experience the answered prayer, then they realize the relevance and existence of God. And that's something that will open the door for you to minister to them. And if you have experienced Jesus in your life, if you experience Jesus in your life, with your prayer life, with a prayer partner, I'm encouraging you to choose your leader who is going to collect those statistics that you bring into him. And continually pray for all these names that you're visiting and revisiting. Commit yourself to that revisitation in a month. You might have your prayer group. In a month you can have your prayer group. 2 of you. And can you imagine each 2 of you have 5 people in your prayer group? This church will be not double, it will be tripled, in a month or 2. If you just start to go out and start to pray, simply pray for those people. Simply pray for those people. People will cry on the doors when you pray for them. Not one that I left over there in tears. Not one that praise God and everyone else that you knock on my door. Because people are lonely. Left. There is a percentage of people in this country that is left to no one else except to God. If we don't act as a believers of that living God, those people will be left. No one. There is no system in this country. Government, social, or any institution. You have community nurses. Why don't we be community chaplains? Why? Why don't we go there and pray for those people and help them to find the ways in their life and bring them to God that can lead them and open their lives in such a perspective and a vision that they never experienced, they never thought about it. You will be amazed with experience for yourself, first of all. And then you'll see the reaction of those people. That you couldn't even imagine that somebody can react that way. The people you see them for the first in their life, they tell you whole life. And you are a stranger for them. You're knocking on a door. They don't know who you are. But they're telling you whole life. They're entrusting your whole life in your hand. Opening the door, inviting you in the house. The Greek guy lived himself, crippled guy, with some disease, I don't know what kind of disease. Government doesn't want to give him bigger apartment to have his son together. And he is alone. He's crying. The wife was English, he's Greek. Wife was English. She died and she was so much Greek that he took her and buried her in Greece. But he don't want to go to Greece because he hates Greece. He wants to be buried here. And people telling you all kinds of things. And all issues and everything, you know. And you're just meeting them for the first time. Struggling with alcohol, with the food, with the children, with all kinds of issues, guys. And we have a prayer in our hand. And we don't want to share the power with this community. If you just go there and just share, you will be amazed. You will be amazed. You will be amazed when I next time come here. What are you going to tell me? I don't want to talk to you. You talk to me and tell me your experience. And I'm encouraging you to choose, if you don't have I believe you have a prayer coordinator here. Let that prayer coordinator and you pray together and decide about the area where you would like to go. Divide that area among yourself and go into it. Whenever you are free, whenever you have a time. Don't be worried about the time, about this, about that. The most important thing, that you go there. And that you go there in the power of God. Not on your power and your strength, but in the power of God. Pray for yourself, for protection, for everything. Recently we came to the house. Man was laying under the car, mechanic fixing something. When we opened the gate, he jumped under the car with the metal bar in his hand and confronted us, saying, "Who you are? Where are you going?" I told him, "We are from Seventh-day Adventist Church. We're visiting community and praying for community." "Oh, you're not Christian." I said, "What do you mean we are not Christian?" He said, "Oh, my pastor told me that you don't believe in Jesus Christ." I said, "Why don't we believe in Jesus Christ? What do you say? Why do you say that?" "My pastor told me that you believe in some days. You don't believe in Jesus. And better leave this place." And I said, "My friend, may I pray for you just, before we leave?" He said, "Yeah, pray." We prayed with that guy. We left him with all kind of literature of Ellen G. White. He took it, and he is completely different guy. And we left him. Even he was, the lady that was with me, she said to me, "Pastor, I thought he was going to crash your head with that metal bar." What was his reaction when we entered the place? And when we told him that we are from Seventh-day Adventist Church. You'll find and meet so many different people, so many different situations, but you will beautifully experience the presence of God with you in a way that you'll never, ever, ever experience in your life. And I'm encouraging you to go out, to structure yourself around this little project and start to go out. In the meantime, I'll develop everything else that you need, and I'll come back, give it to your pastor. You have a proper training. You'll be properly organized. Everything will come with the time. But for now, start to do your things, because this is the time to do it. This is a summertime. Long days. Beautiful day outside. You can every day. If you do it just once a week, 1 hour a week, you'll see the tremendous difference in your personal life and in the life of this church. Because you'll bring some people here that you won't believe that they ever could bring them here. They'll ask you to come with you. 2 of those guys, they knock on the door. Father, open the door. They told him, "Why did that?" He said, "Can you give us Bible study now?" They said, "Of course." He took them in. They gave them Bible study to the whole family. Next week when they went there, he said, "Can you come twice a week?" And they're going now twice a week and giving the Bible study to the whole family. I'm not saying that doors won't slam on your face. I'm not saying. But I'm telling you, when even the door is slammed on your face, you'll experience peace. Because God is with you.
Amen.
That's God's business, not your business.
Amen.
You don't need to be discouraged with those ones. The most important thing is for you to call this community. Call them. Call them. Revisit them and call them. I usually tell to those guys, we are in a gardening business. Those people are there like vegetables. They have a season. If you go in the early spring, you'll find spring onion. Pick them up. But when you need the cabbage, you have to go in October, late October, autumn, to pick up the cabbage. But you have to revisit that cabbage. You have to nurture that cabbage. You have to water that cabbage. You have to do all kinds of things around that cabbage. And that's the prayer that is going to do. Just go there and share that prayer with the community. If you have that desire, I invite you to stand. If you have the desire to do those things, I invite you to stand. And I invite pastor. Where is the pastor? Behind me. Pastor, those are people that are willing to commit themselves. And you're standing with this afternoon. You're standing, and God is witness, guys, between you and me. I'm your guest. And God is witness that I called you and that you stand voluntarily before that God to serve that God and serve this community. And I invite Pastor, and you can put your names, and I invite Pastor to pray for all of you and pray for me. Because this is your church. If you don't build this church, no one else is coming here to build that church for you. Guys, you have to understand that you have a pastor, but that pastor cannot do things for you. Pastor is going to be moved maybe in a year or 3 or 4 or whatever and wherever. And the new pastor will come. But you guys, you're the church. You're the church. Pastor can support you, motivate, pray with you and for you and teach and preach. But you have to do it, guys. If you don't do it, no one else will do it. You have to understand that mentality of sitting here and come on Sabbath is not the church. It's not the body of Jesus Christ. That's not the body of Jesus Christ. That is a different mentality. Young, old, you'll be amazed when you see on the doors 10 white children coming into the church. Last weekend, I was preaching in a different church, but I went back to my little group in Wellington for some other reason. And I found a white guy who is engineer, electric engineer, surrounded with a few black people. And I said, my friend, how do you feel in this strange environment? He said, what do you mean? He said, you're the white, educated, professional, and you're surrounded with a few black ladies. How do you feel? Have you found yourself strange? Have you found you strange to eat a vegetarian food? He said, no. I found you on the internet. I went to the internet. I saw Ellen G. White's website. I read about Seventh-day Adventists. And Pastor, I'm surprised that in this community I can see every denomination in every corner, but I don't see Seventh-day Adventist church. I'm surprised that you have a truth in your hand and you're not in the community. I'm surprised. He was this morning again. And you'll see him on that DVD when I come next time and have a DVD. I'll send DVD to Pastor. You can see the testimonies of all these people that I mentioned this afternoon. You'll see their own testimony. You'll see the people that crying on the door. Catholic people. They come, you come into them and when they say, I'm a Catholic. I said, praise God that you're Catholic. You have even more reason to pray than anyone else. And when you pray with them, they usually at the end they cry on their doorstep, they cry over there after just simple prayer. Prayer is a powerful thing that we have in our life. And we have to share that with other people. That's the only way to change people, because we cannot change it. Only God can change it. And they will give us strength and blessing. Blessing that you're going to experience when you pray with those people on the street, on the doors, on their houses. You'll experience some blessing that you never experienced before, guys. I'm telling you, you're going to be my witness. You're going to be my witness. I'm coming here to do the second DVD with you guys.
Amen.
Next week? And if you know, I don't know if you're following, first Sabbath in a month is a Sabbath of prayer and fasting. I don't know if you're following that or not. I mean, that's in Adventist setting, in Adventist church, first Sabbath in a month is a prayer and fasting. I'm encouraging you to start to pray and fast. I'm encouraging you to come to your prayer meeting and start to pray for yourself, for this project, for the community, for this church, more than ever before. I'm encouraging you. And guys, you'll experience the life, something that you never experienced before. Anyone to ask me any questions? Don't sit, just stand, please. Do you have any questions? You know, you see, if you're in Orthodox Church or in Judaism, you have to stand whole ceremony, hour and a half.
Yes, the question is, what about their faces? Should we be afraid of someone's face?
Sorry?
Should we be afraid of a neighbor's face?
Afraid?
Yes.
Why?
When we look at them, should we be afraid that they will shut us and say, don't bother to come? Should we be afraid?
Afraid? Why do you want to be afraid?
Because of the face.
I'm telling you, you're going there not in your strength. You're going there not in your strength, guys, you have to understand. And if you're making decision to go there, you have to start to pray for yourself seriously. Seriously start to pray for yourself. You have to spend on your knees a lot of time for yourself. Because when you go into these communities, when you see around yourself what's happening, now what's happening? Now what's happening in those communities? People, when you visit them once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, they start to recognize you on the street. They start to wave. How are you today? Or young guys drinking on the corner. As soon as I come out of the corner and they see me, they start to do that. They're recognizing me. They know what I'm doing there. And we're building our relationship. Next time, I'm bringing the guy with the guitar to sing for them songs. Have a party on the corner over there. And those guys, that you're building a trust with them and a relationship with them. And you're bringing them to you slowly, and they can see the relevance. They can see that you're genuine one, that you really believe. That whatever education, whatever the mind, modern, postmodern, I'm telling you guys, those people are going to admire you because you're coming on the door. That's the admiration. They admire you. Somebody who is postmodern, they're saying, you know, they don't care about the religion, they don't believe this, that. But they're going to admire you because this is your belief, that you bring in your belief to their doors. And because of that admiration, they'll join you. They join you. They might not join you in the church, but they join you in those projects that I'm talking. When you start to bring the community needs, and when you start to organize the project, help, education, whatever, they'll come and help you. Those ones come and help you. And those are moments when they're going to experience church and everything else. Yes?
How do you get from being comfortable offering to pray for people, and the prayers that you offer for those people are in your own home? So you have that security of being safe. You're praying for them, but you're actually physically in your own home or in somewhere where you feel safe. So that's something that I do, or something that I'm sure that all of us do.
I'm saying you're going in twos. You're not going on your own.
Okay.
Two of you. You have a prayer partner in your church.
No.
Or you don't. Or somebody who has a similar life schedule as you. And you can team up. You can team up. You can team up. Come to your pastor or coordinator, whoever, and say, guys, two of us are pairs and we would like to cover. I live in that area. Pastors give them 2-4 streets around place where they live, and you taking care of that little patch, and you revisiting that little patch and praying for people, and you revisiting. When you have 5 regular people that you coming back to their doors and praying with them, and you start to introduce them to each other, and you introduce them to each other, and you start to meet as a prayer group, the moment will come when some of them will mention the Bible. Don't teach them Bible. Don't preach them Bible. Ask them to read the same chapter of the Bible. And next time when you come for a prayer, let them express experience of that reading. And then you express your experience. Exchange that experience and move in that direction. And you have plenty of things to do until I come with the whole thing and give you the whole thing. Every time when you go there, let them speak specific things. The second question deals which of these programs will be interest you if the church around them. And then we have a health and nutrition seminar, stress control, money management, good parenting, improving your marriage, youth programs, what is Christianity or others. And they'll say something. Again, ask them specifically. Or if they say, I'm not interested in a church, I don't want to participate in any of those programs, then comes the second side of this question. You are the professional. Can you prepare one of those seminars and be involved in that way? Not to come and listen to those seminars, but you present those seminars. That's the way to trigger like that doctor who now coming once a month to a little group. He is not in church member, he has nothing to do with religion, but he has an admiration, and he comes once a month. He gives us one morning, one Sabbath in the morning, 1 hour in the Sabbath morning, and he comes and presents different issues of health. And third question goes with the Bible. Will someone guide you in one-on-one by post with others in the group? And the last one that is not here, but that's the major one that I'm talking today, prayer. May I pray for you? And they say, yes, pray for me. Then you get approval to come next week to pray for that individual. Then you ask them for the name, telephone number, and you exchange your telephone number with them. And you put address over here. When you finish that, before you go to the next door, put on the back side of that sheet your experience. I met this individual. There is a problem in the family. Son is a drug addict or whatever you found there. Need a prayer. We pray together. I'm coming back next week to pray. Keep your little diary about that door. Next time when you need to that door, that you know what was the previous meeting there. You know what was the outcome of the previous meeting. And you know the name, and you know the situation, you know why you prayed last time, and you know everything you're going to prepare there. And then you know what are you talking about. Because after a while, you'll meet so many people, you'll knock on so many doors. There are some accept, some not. And it's difficult to keep everything in your mind. Make the note on the back of this form for yourself. When you come to church back next, prayer meeting, or what I do with this. They come with those sheets on Sabbath morning, and instead on Sabbath school, and instead of reading or listening or watching the experience missionary spot, they gave their experience as a missionary spot from the visitation to the door, to the rest of the church. They stand, they come over here, and they said, last week I met such, and that was my experience. I knock on the doors, and that's happened. How happened? That's the missionary spot, the people that are going out, giving to the members of the church that are not going out, praying for them to join, or if those ones that are not able to join, they praying inside the church on Wednesday or any other day, or at houses for those that are going out, to be protected, to be strengthened, to continually walk, continually knock on the door. I mean, there is so many ways that you can divide yourself and be involved in that prayer ministry.